Hello and welcome to, well, that was a bit high pitched, wasn't it? Hello. Welcome to episode 10 of Mystery Knitalong. And we are currently going to be looking at Clue 2 spoilers for the Glow Along, which is called the Mystery Mohair. Is that correct?
Yes. And let's be honest, it's going to be unavoidable to show parts of Clue 3 this week. So if you are not trying to see that, this might not be the episode for you. You might want to come back and watch when you are ready to see Clue 3 as well.
We'll try our best, but I think you are going to see some of it. I don't think there's no way around it, really, is there?
Yeah, there's no way. Before we get too far into this, that's Neil. Well, that's Neil. And I'm Shauna. And this is the Mystery Knitalong channel, where we talk about the mystery knits that we are working on. And as Neil said, this is Mohair Mobile, which is the MKAL by Stephen West. Right up there is the QR code to our Telegram group, where we go even deeper into these discussions, if you can believe that. And we share lots of photos.
So, how's your week been?
Oh, it's been hectic. I was already telling Neil, if I seem a bit off today, I apologize. I'm feeling much better now that I'm, talking to all you. I'm feeling energized, but it's been a morning.
Yeah, Shauna was just telling me, and I fully sympathize. I mean, don't be worried, everyone. It's not the end of the world, is it?
Oh,
You've just had a morning, haven't you? One of them mornings where you can imagine trying to get ready for work. You're running late already. You've overslept 5 minutes. You try, and then everything happens.
That's exactly what it's like. It's like everything is snowballing. And I texted him to let him know that I'm still working on the video, compiling it together, and I'll be a few minutes late, not to this, but to our, we get together a little bit beforehand. So I'm here. Everything's fine. We're all fine.
You chilled now. We're all chilled.
Yeah.
Well, I've had an interesting week. Well, last time I spoke, was I still recovering from all that pain, or had it just stopped at that point? I think it might have just stopped.
Well, you had your interesting contraption, and I think it was mostly better.
That one, yeah.
That one.
Yeah, it's been great since, and it's amazing how pain changes your view on everything. I was really on a bit of a downer with this shawl, with Clue 1. Because I don't know that I started Clue 1, and then halfway through I was still behind, so I started Clue 2. Because we can talk about that now, can't we? We were able to carry on knitting both sides. Mm-hmm. So once I'd finished Clue 2, then I felt energized to be able to do Clue 1 again, and it was nowhere near as tricky and difficult as it had been before. So obviously that being not feeling great just put a bit of a dampener on it for me. And
was the pain on your right side or your left side?
My right side. So
I don't know about you, but I do, I control that needle going into those 3 stitches with my right side. So I can see, like, if each time you're doing that, it's painful, or you're not wanting to make a full motion, then
it's funny,
picking those up would be a lot harder.
Because in this Clue 3, I won't say people know, but I won't say. Well, there's a technique in Clue 3 that it's not as hard as that knit 3 together through the back loop, as far as I'm concerned. But there is a bit of trickiness to it. It's not just simple knitting. And last night I felt the twinge again in my side. Oh. So I thought, it's the knitting. It's how I'm sitting. It's something to do with tricky knitting techniques is causing me to tense up or something. So I took some painkillers, took a tiny bit of a break. And then I deliberately, since then, I've tried to really loosen when it comes to that row, because it's just that row. So I'm hoping it's not going to get any worse. And now I've got that. I already had it, but this gel that I've got is absolutely fantastic. I'll try and remember what it's called, but I don't know if you can get it in America. It's really, really inexpensive. It costs £1 a tub. It's the cheapest thing ever, and everybody raves about it. And now I know why.
Now I'm so curious what it is.
Oh, it's called something like Mastoplast. It's and it's like when you look at it, you think, oh, that was cheap. You know what I mean? It's like, and it really is £1 a tub. So I'll show it in the. I haven't got it to hand now, but I will show it later on in the group.
Yeah, if we have that here, I bet it's called something different.
Yeah, I bet you do have it though, because everything we have here usually comes from you guys or somewhere like that. But so Arlene has just reminded me there. She said, "Hi guys, love the video that you and Annie did and the meet of Stephen West. It was great." Yeah, so I have to talk about this. So do we talk about this first, or do we talk about Clue 2 first?
I How about we do clue 2? We show the video because, spoiler, there might be a photo in there. And then you can talk about
it. Okay, so shall we show the video now? Or do you want to?
Let's show, well, yes, let's show our video first, because if I show my project, it's going to show part of clue 3. So yeah.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. Okay. Did that jump ahead then? I think it did.
It did, yes.
So give me a second. Let's go back. Sorry, I ruined the moment there.
Not too much. Neil, I'm real worried that this uploaded the wrong video.
Oh, have you?
I think it's the same one from last week. Hold on.
All right.
I apologize, everyone. We are having technical difficulties. Let me get the correct one uploaded here. I thought that was the right one.
Mistakes are great, I think, in video.
Yeah.
When we watch anyone else, I love it when they make mistakes. So.
I'm sorry.
Oh, don't worry.
Now I have to figure out which one is the right one.
Does it show the date or not?
No, because the way unfortunately, I name them all the same thing. So when it says Mystery Knitalong, then it's like, oh, this is the right one. Will you just try? I just uploaded, I think, the other one. If you'll just take a look at that really quick. I don't know that you can do it without playing it, but.
Yeah, I'll have to play it. Well, let's go for it and see what happens.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
It's going to start the same. It's going to look the same. The difference between the two videos, yes, this is the right one. So you'll see 2 seconds of the still shot from last week, and then you'll see the sweeping photos of anything that's new.
Brilliant.
That's it. That was the correct one that time.
That's your job now, Shauna. That's it. You know when you have a job and you do a job too well, and then that means you get to do more work.
Neil, that's the story of my life.
Well, it's continuing here as well. No, that was really good. It made me laugh with the picture of Stephen West, because that picture, I'm going to keep showing that everywhere.
As you should. No, that's super exciting. Now you can talk about that.
Well, what a day. And I honestly wasn't going to go. So I said to you, didn't I, should I go? You know, Stephen West's going to be there. And you were like, you've got to go. And I was like,
I said, you have to go. It's literally like in Neil's backyard. And he's like, I don't know.
I've measured it. I did a thing on Google Earth, and it's literally 2 miles, exactly 2 miles from my front door, where the venue was. So I could have walked it. I didn't walk, but I could have. Anyway, I wasn't going to go. And then I thought, oh, I'll mention it to Annie, because Annie lives about 2.5 hours away from Manchester, but she's from Manchester originally. And so we were kind of like, shall we go? Shall we not go? We weren't really 100%. And then I think Annie kind of said, no, come on, let's do it. You know, so we arranged it, got the tickets, and turned up on the day. So I got there just a little bit before Annie. There was a massive queue initially, but they were brilliant. It was so well organized. The queue just went through the door like really, really quickly. Got our tickets for Stephen West, which was free. You didn't have to pay to see his talk. And then I walked in and saw Annie was with me at that point, and I was like looking around, and I thought, oh, I'm going to be a bit overwhelmed with this, because the stalls were there, but there was good space. You know what I mean? There was, you could drive cars down the middle of them. You know what I mean? I've driven down smaller country lanes than we had there, and we just picked a side and said, let's go to that side, and then go up and down the aisles. And it just happened to be the side where Stephen and Penelope's stand was. And there was hardly anyone there because I think everyone else started where they walked in, so that's where the busy bit was. And there was just one person stood with him. And so I can't remember which of us said it. I just said, shall we talk to him? So we just stood there waiting. And I tell you something very special about him that, I'm fanboying now, because it's really changed my view of him. You know what I mean? I really, really like him. You know what I mean? After this, he completely ignored us whilst he was talking to the lady he was with, and she had all of his attention, and it was like really interesting to watch. And then a couple of other people came up, and then Annie and I had all of his attention, and we talked for ages. And at one point, I actually apologized to the people behind, because look, I'm really sorry we're monopolizing him. And they said, and he said, oh no, it's okay, because he obviously knew everyone was going to get their turn. You know what I mean? And he was just so interested, and I can't really explain how it made you feel. You know what I mean? He's so warm. He's so friendly, so enthusiastic. And so we showed him our shawls, and he talked about our shawls, and I asked him for advice, and he told me to add, I'll show you the very ball he picked up. So he suggested I, watch me not be able to find it now. Where's it gone? Oh no. God, I panicked there. I thought I'd completely lost it. Only the most important ball of wool in the world to me at the moment. So he suggested that I add his mohair. So I immediately had to buy it. So he touched this ball. So I was saying to Annie, I'm never going to use it, but obviously I have. And he was just so nice, such a nice guy. So anyway, we went off, and then we started walking around all the stalls. And it got to sort of lunchtime, because it was 12 o'clock when his talk was. So we were outside where you walked in, and we saw him walk in, and we said, all right, we'll go in then. It was about 10 to 12, and didn't see anybody else go in. So we were thinking, oh, is it not very popular? What's going on? Anyway, as we walked to the entrance, it turns out there was 2 or 3 other entrances, and it was absolutely packed. So we were the last ones there. We thought we were going to be the first. And the only spaces we saw were right on the front row. Because you know how people tend to not sit at the front?
Oh, yes.
So so I just said, well, let's go there. And I thought they might have been reserved, because there was like a piece of paper on there, but they weren't. So anyway, we sat right on the front row. So I was literally about 2 foot away from him talking. But I ended up with crook neck because I had to keep turning my head like that. But his talk was really good. It was just him talking about his shawls, but he was hilarious, and I didn't know he was so funny. Anyway, so he did his talk. It must have been an hour, maybe a bit more. And then at the end, he just made a beeline for me and Annie, and he wanted to see what I'd bought. So he picked up my bag and he was looking at the yarn, and we were chatting again. Just really nice guy, you know what I mean? Just so friendly. So then we went off again. We had another look round. We had something to eat. And sorry, this is boring, everyone. You've probably seen all this on Annie's video, because Annie's got a video which I'll put a link in the description for later. I've not done it at the moment, but I will later. And then I think it was closing at 5 o'clock, and it must have been getting nearer 4 o'clock. And I said, oh, let's go and have another quick look at this, that stall, and just see if he's still there. And I was thinking that he would, at that point, have gone. I was thinking after he's done his talk, he'll have buggered off and just left his team, because he had quite a few people working on the stall there with him. And anyway, he was still there, stood on his own, just stood there. So I thought, right, well, that's an invitation. You know what I mean? He's not got anything to do. I'm just going to make a beeline. So I just went over and started chatting to him again for ages. We were chatting about, I asked him about the Netherlands. I asked him how old he was when he moved there, why he moved there. I asked him about his design process. Asked him about all sorts of things, related to knitting and not related to knitting. And he was as enthusiastic after being there all day as he was when we first got there. Completely on. I just imagine, you know what it's like when anyone who does a podcast, you kind of have to turn yourself on. You have to put the power on, don't you, to come and do the show. And then after, you can be exhausted after, even if you've only spoken for half an hour. And I just thought, how's he managed to keep all that energy all that day? And I've just got this vision in my head that the moment he gets home, he just turns into Jekyll and Hyde, like really evil, But
he might actually be an extrovert. That might be, some people get energy from talking to people and stuff, and that might be him. He's very eccentric, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, yeah, and he's very tall. I wasn't expecting that. It's difficult to see on some of the photos that you might see, because he actually crouched down on some of the photos to, so we all fitted in. So he's very, you see him a mile off, and obviously he's wearing, his theme for this particular thing is obviously that 70s curtain suit, because he seems to be wearing that everywhere he goes. So you see him a mile off, and I just I don't know, I just won't have a bad word said about him now. I absolutely think he's amazing.
What's so awesome about that is, how you can like a movie star or someone who is famous, even if they're not super famous, right? And then you meet them in person, or you hear stories about people meeting them in person, and they're just rude. They're rude to the wait staff, or they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to sign an autograph, whatever it is. It's just so nice to hear that the person that he is when he's filming his tutorials and that you see in the public eye is the same person that he is.
Well, if he's not
one-on-one,
if it's an act, he's flawlessly acting. Do you know what I mean? And
I'll tell you, I've never heard a bad story. That I've never heard that story of him at the restaurant and being rude or anything.
And we saw him a couple of times, sort of as we were walking around. I glanced over, seeing who was with him and who was talking to him, and you could see that enthusiasm and that happiness to talk to people was with everyone. It wasn't, so. But the other thing I would say is that I can't remember who it was now, but somebody posted in one of the comments, I think it was under Annie's video, and said, I'd have been too scared and pointed. But the lesson I've learned from that is, if you do see someone, especially if it's Stephen West, you're safe. Just go over there and just talk about your knitting, because he is so interested. He looked at my knitting, he held this and he looked at it, and one of the things he said was, oh, you're a rule breaker, because I haven't stuck exactly to the instructions. So, and he likes that kind of thing. You can tell he likes your own creativity. So he's not going to be one of those people that's like, oh, you didn't follow my pattern, exactly, what's this about? So yeah, it was so, so the whole day was kind of, it made the day. Obviously, it made the day. Even if he hadn't have been there, it was still a good day, because it was fun to be with Annie. Because we sat and chatted. We were just chatting nonsense. But it's the kind of thing you would just sit there and knit and talk to somebody with you if you were in the same room. We talked to quite a few people just generally, and everyone seemed to be pretty friendly. There were a few really miserable looking people, you know, and you kind of think, you know, why are you so unhappy? You know, you come to a yard show, surely it's fun, you know. But apart from that, and I think we were very lucky because it was the first one. So it was quieter. Well, Annie said it was quieter than all the ones that she's been to. So for me, that was perfect because I do get sensory overload a little bit. I'm not saying I'm autistic, although I probably am. But if I go anywhere like a wool shop, I tend to just, it all kind of closes in on me and I can't see anything. Do you know what I mean?
How lucky were they to get Stephen their first year? Yeah. That seems like a big deal.
Yeah, well, he seems to be doing all of the festivals at the moment because I've seen a few of his reels where I think he's somewhere Norfolk way at the moment, which is miles away from here. So I think he's definitely doing the rounds. But the thing I thought, oh, this is really interesting, is he loves Manchester. And one of the reasons is he's one of the people who works for him lives in Manchester. Now, I don't know how that works. I don't know whether she does his social media or whether she, you know, whether they stay in each other's houses when they work in Netherlands or whatever, but I've got a feeling he comes to Manchester quite a lot. So me and Stephen West might end up like, you know, best buddies. Can you imagine now? Yeah, poor Stephen. I feel like he's created, well, I can't speak for Annie, but he's created a stalker. No, it was so much fun meeting him, and I just kept thinking to myself how lucky we were that day because we almost didn't go, you know, and, you know, I wouldn't have had that experience, you know what I mean? So it's a lesson to do these things sometimes, even if you don't particularly feel like doing it, you know. I didn't go crazy spending money. I spent about £100 on the day, which was my limit. I didn't go over my limit. Yeah, it was, sorry, I'm just saying, yeah, it was great, you know. But I did, there's a couple of messages. I asked him to give a message to the group because I had a go at him. The first thing I said, you know, this wasn't on camera, but when I first saw him, the first thing I said was, I've got a bone to pick with you. And his face was like, ooh. I just went, knit 3 together through the back loop. So this is his message to all of us who had a problem. So everyone in our group, this is for us, because I specifically mentioned that we had this group that was doing the Knitalong. I apologise for our viewers for the knit 3 together.
I'm really sorry for the knit 3 together through the back loop. Get over it, okay? It's going to be worth it.
Thank you so
beautiful.
much.
Get a pointy needle and you'll be fine. Once it's over, it's over. We're not going to do any more of those.
Just take your time.
Thank you very much. So there you can see him holding my shawl and holding my ball of wool. So that's the evidence. So when I sell the label on of the ball of wool, they'll be able to say that's £100 because he's. But then there was another message he gave us. So this one's for you, Shauna.
Oh, goody! I don't know.
I wish you all were here. My dogs aren't here, but I'm sure that
I'll start it again.
Hello, Shauna, to you and your little chihuahuas. I wish you all were here. My dogs aren't here, but I'm sure they'd love your little pups. So next time, you got to come to Manchester. We'll be here. And greetings. And thank you for your police officer work. Don't knit on the job.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this. We'll have to get you... just saying it's probably going to be more realistic for you to meet Stephen West in Manchester than it would be in Oregon. So I was thinking about it the other day. I was thinking maybe next year we should try and get you over here. You know, just come over for a week or for a long week. Well, it'd have to be a week because it'd be such a long flight.
Could you imagine if we podcasted together in the same room? That'd be insane.
Well, I'm up for it if you're up for it. I mean, I'd have to figure out where you would stay because you couldn't stay in this flat the way I wouldn't put you through that with my cats. But yeah, if you do want to come over, then we'll try and figure it out because he did say he would definitely be going next year. However, you know, there may be, you know, who knows what could happen in the meantime. Yeah. You know, that event might not be on next year. But it's definitely something because I was thinking, yeah, you have got more chance of meeting him over this side of the pond, I think.
Well, I have a passport, so it's not out of the question, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, don't make plans now. That's that'd be
Are you kidding me? I already booked a flight and a room, and
yeah, but that would be great. I think because I think you would actually like Manchester as well. Because have you ever been to the UK?
Nope.
Right, because if you're ever thinking of going to the UK, this is to everyone, not just you. I would say if you're going to go to London, do no more than a day. Get out of London as quickly as you can. I wouldn't even say go to the big cities like Manchester, actually, but go elsewhere. You know, have a base, but see other places, because London is not representative of the country. And all you'll see in London is you'll see some great architecture and a lot of sort of history, but there's more history outside of London and there's more things to see. You are better off going somewhere northern, I would say, because then you've got more options to travel from that area. So anyway, so I've done that. So, sorry, this is the Neil show, isn't it? Sorry, I've just completely taken over. Sorry, Shauna. Enough of Shauna. More about me.
Something exciting to talk about. If the roles were reversed, I would have lots of stories too.
Well, yeah. So I'm hoping you get the chance. I really want you to meet it, because I said to him about you. I said, "Oh, Shauna knits all of your mystery shawls." I said, she absolutely loves your patterns, and I thought afterwards, do you have chihuahuas? Are they chihuahuas?
Yes.
Oh, thank God for that, because I was thinking, did I just misbreed your dogs?
No.
Well, when I mentioned, this is a funny thing, he obviously loves his yarn, he loves his knitting, and he loves dogs. Because the moment I said, "Oh, and she's got dogs," his eyes lit up. And I said, "Oh, but they're not like yours," because he's got Frenchy bulldogs, doesn't he?
Yeah.
French bulldog. And I said, "But I think they're chihuahuas." And Annie confirmed. She said, "Yeah, they're chihuahuas." So I'm blaming Annie in case it was wrong. And so I think here's a top tip for you. If you want to, really pique his interest, then dogs and your yarn and your knitting, that's everything to get a good conversation with him.
What else do you need in life?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, maybe a few cats, because I like cats as well. I do love dogs, but yeah, you can't take your cats with you. Well, he didn't have his dogs. No, he didn't have his dogs. He didn't. No. That, but I thought he might. But I bet the venue probably wouldn't have allowed them. But yeah, if anyone else wants to meet Stephen West, get on a plane in March. Is it March? Yeah, we're in March.
We're all going to be showing up on your doorstep, So
you can't stay here. There's no room at the inn. Emily says, I agree, Neil. London was cool to see the sights, but Manchester was more about the people. I went to Blackpool as well. Blackpool. Oh, yeah. As Annie would say, yeah, Blackpool is very unique. I'm not going to say it's good. But if you want to see a side of life that you've never seen before, go to Blackpool. Absolutely. Yeah, there are some really beautiful places in this country that you don't get to see very often, because it's just the majority of it, the cities are all the same. Well, cities are the same everywhere, aren't they? They must be the same where you are as well,
Yeah.
So anyway, enough about that. So shall we show our clue 1 and clue 2?
Well, you saw them in the video. I can't really show my clue 1 and clue 2 without showing clue 3.
Could you not do it upside down? So.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
And then stop when it gets to there.
It's going to be tricky.
Perfect.
I'll stop there.
Clue 1 is at the top of our knitting there. Although it looks like, well, should we say? No, we won't say, actually. I'm not going to say what that is. So that's clue 1. That was the one with the knit threes together through the back loop. That is the one I had the most problem with.
For mine, that's the little white little blips there that look kind of like baubles.
Then clue 2 is the bit at the bottom, which is the wavy bit. I did mine slightly different. I didn't change the pattern. I just changed the way the colours. I just didn't put the colours in the same order as he suggested. Mm-hmm. Now, at this point, I was like, "Oh, it's okay," but I wasn't in love with this. But now, we're not going to talk about clue 3 yet, are we? But now that I'm halfway,
I think we are going to show clue 3.
Oh, are we? Do people want to see clue 3 already?
I gave the disclaimer at the beginning that clue 3 was going to be shown. Okay, so if you missed the beginning, I will say it again. We're going to be showing parts of clue 3, not a finished clue 3, but clue 3 does give away quite a bit of the questions that we've had so far. So I guess now is your time to leave and watch this on replay if you don't want to see parts of clue 3.
And we'll say when it's safe to watch again.
Okay, ready?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, go.
There it is.
We're pretty much at the same spot, really, aren't we? I think I'm ahead. I'm actually beating Shauna
he
for
is
once.
ahead. Yeah.
Shows how much I've loved this. This clue is genius.
It is.
Absolute genius.
So for those of you who couldn't see the up close and don't know, those are cables.
Let me make you bigger. There you go. Oh, you can really see it on the undyed yarn. That's really nice.
A light color usually shows cables better than a dark color, usually. And one of the things that we had been wondering is, was clue 1 the top? Is clue 2 the top? And now we know this is going to extend across. It's very hard to show, but that will be the top-ish.
Yeah, I'll just show you on mine. So the way it's going to go, you can't see the cables as well on mine because mine's much darker. But eventually, you decrease and decrease and decrease, and then you pretty much meet yourself in the middle, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the straight neck edge. And it's just absolutely brilliant how he's worked that out.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant.
And Cathard, I'm not sure how I'm saying that right, they say they accidentally saw the finished clue while scrolling Facebook. They were bummed, but it is fabulous. And same thing, I got spoiled yesterday, and it's probably the only time where I'm not disappointed because I wasn't really sure how it all was going to work. So it wasn't, even though I knew the end result of what it was going to look like, it still didn't really tell me how to get there. And then just seeing it, it's like, holy cow, that's awesome. It looks so good.
Yeah, it changes everything that you've knitted up until that point, really, doesn't it? Because before then, it's like, it's okay. That's how I was feeling. It's okay. And I didn't know where it was going to go. And my predictions were so far off. It's brilliant. But I love that. I love the fact that I
do too.
I mean, we did have a conversation where I said at one point, oh, if you pull this out, it's a straight edge. And then Shauna said, oh, well, it can't be, though, because it's less stitches on one set of needles and more stitches on the other. But neither of us considered that it was actually going to be the straight edge of the top of your shawl.
No.
So it's diagonal. It's actually, so the amount of calculations that he's done. But here's the weird thing. When I was talking to him, I asked him, sorry, I'm going to keep going on about this now.
Oh, can we just interrupt real quick and say, if you were looking away or you're on the replay and you were just not looking at the screen, you can look again. We're not showing any part of clue 3, but we are going to talk about clue 3.
So I asked him about his process for designing and whether he, wrote it all down, drew it and all that. And he said, no, he said he just picks up the yarn and the needles and just plays about with it and it becomes a shawl. And he said it takes him 2 weeks. That's how long each shawl.
He must be a mathematical genius and obviously a knitting genius, but there's no other way. Like my brain does not work like that.
The only thing I keep thinking is, does he, because one of the things I've been very interested in, and is there's not enough space in my brain to remember it all, but I am interested in knowing about decreases and increases, how to get particular shapes. So if you want to get a 45-degree angle, what kind of decreases do you have to do, or increases? If you want 33 degrees and so on. And one of the things I played around with on Stitch Fiddle was drawing a shape, just a random shape on Stitch Fiddle, which has all the squares where your stitches would be. And then seeing if you delete the partial square, this is not going to sound like it's making sense. Imagine a sheet of graph paper, but it's the same gauge as your knitting. So it's not square, but it's a little bit off. Just draw a random shape, anything at all, and then block out anything that isn't a full square. And that is kind of how you create your knitting to be any shape you want. So, like when he does his mild blankets, that's how I think he does it, because he knows that many stitches there and a decrease there and an increase here will create what you need to have. And I did test it with one particular pattern that I've been working on, and it does work. So that's the only thing I'm wondering. But then he said he doesn't draw it out. But years ago, I'm sure I saw on a Christy Glass interview with him that he had a book that he drew his ideas in. Well, maybe he's just so good now he doesn't need to do it. He's kind of doing it all
He's
in
been
his
doing
head.
it for a long time. And if you, what did you say? 2 weeks, which is what Jeanette told us. It was 2 weeks for a sweater. That blows my mind. These people, they are very good at what they do.
Well, it's their full-time job, but even still, I don't think I could physically knit 8 hours a day, that religiously. And obviously with that,
I could.
you could, but I couldn't. I would end up with every repetitive injury you can imagine.
You need about 5 of those sticks to just everywhere.
Yeah, I'd need a massage chair. I'd need a masseur as well on hand, ready. What do they call them? A sports therapist or whatever they call. Yeah. So they must literally wake up in the morning and be very dedicated and very disciplined and
you
do
would have
day's
to.
work.
Anybody who is self-employed or, self-initiated for their job, you'd have to be very regimented and really like set the clock, okay, we're having work time now and everything else goes away. Otherwise you wouldn't crank out enough. That's what I'm always so amazed how they can do enough patterns to earn a living wage. And obviously, there's several designers who do, but it just blows my mind.
Well, the amazing thing, not great thing, but the amazing thing about Stephen West is not only is he able to churn out those patterns, because he does release a lot of patterns. We don't always hear about them, but he releases like, is it 12 sets of socks a year, 12 shawls a year?
I bet it's more than 12 shawls. It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and the sweaters and so on and so on. And how it's not just that he's prolific in that sense, it's just how ingenious he is with it. Some of them are more amazing and technically brilliant than others, but they're all good. There's very, very few of them, even the ones that have been wacky. Now I really appreciate that.
Well, I think his designs are getting better over time, and he still is edgy because sometimes better is like, more mainstream, but his are edgy but more mainstream edgy, if that makes any sense. Like, I think they appeal to more people than they did at one time, and I think he's learning to do that.
Well, he's kind of gone on a bit of a circular journey, hasn't he? Because his initial stuff that he made in the very early days was very calm and normal and brown and beige and a little bit boring. His Boneyard shawl, which I think was his first, he said it was his first shawl. That's a great shawl, but it's not innovative. You
wouldn't look at it and think Stephen West.
Absolutely. It's a good shawl. There's nothing wrong with it. And I can imagine, it's free as well. It thinks his only free pattern, so go and get it if you haven't already. But then where he went from there, like what switched in his head to go on the journey that he's gone. What was it? He did. I asked him about whether he would do a mystery sweater like Jeanette did, and he is thinking about it. So I showed him. Awesome. I showed him a picture of Shauna. It's not that I went looking for a picture of Shauna. It was just that Shauna's picture was the most recent one that was in my photo thing, wearing your rouge. So I said, this is Shauna and this is the rouge that we've just knitted by Jeanette. And he said, it's got texture in it. He was really interested in that pattern. So I told him, so I didn't say how she'd done it, but I just said, she did it a bit at a time. I said the only tricky bit was sort of the underarm bit, because that was based on, you had to work that out yourself a little bit. And I said she did it very well, though. And he was really interested. So I suspect he'll probably be going off to buy Jeanette's pattern, her rouge, to see how she's done it. Because he did say that the team, we have been thinking about it. So
that's awesome. I'm in. If he does it, I'm in.
Absolutely. Even if, here's the funny thing, he did, after he did the exploration station, he did a sweater, but the arm was weird. One of the arms was like a bat wing, and the other arm was an ordinary wing. Now, an ordinary arm. Now there's no way in a million years I would wear that. But if he did it as a mystery knit-along, I would knit it.
Yes, me too.
I would, because we were talking about this just before we came on air, didn't we? How at this stage now, I don't even care what it looks like now. I know it's just going to be a brilliant experience where you're going to have the highs and lows of it. I've had the misery of those knit 3 together through the back loops, but then I'm loving the cables. And I didn't think I would enjoy doing cables, but I've loved this. So yeah, it's definitely. But again, we've talked about this a few times. It's the process, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's what Neil was saying. Oh, when I knit this again, or if I knit this again, I would change up some things. And I told him I wouldn't knit it again. And the reason I wouldn't knit it again is not because I don't think it's beautiful. I absolutely love this. But being a process knitter, that second project would become a project knit instead of a process knit, because I've already done the process. I understand how the stitches are playing together, how the colors are playing together, what's coming next. So for me, a project knit would be something I want to wear, which I do make those. It's just less common. But I love a process. I mean, there's just something in my brain that it just itches the right spot when it's something that I cannot predict, just like the part of clue 3 that we've shown. I was going to show it again, but no, I won't do that. It just blows my mind. And I love being surprised. I think at this point in my life, not young, it's very rare that we get surprised, especially good surprises. And so just having that little bit of like Christmas morning surprise, I love it.
Yeah, it's when people say, oh, I could buy a sweater for £20 in a shop, but I could knit one for 400. That is like, why would you knit one for 400 when you can buy one for 20? But that misses the entire point of this, doesn't it? Because it is literally it's the fun of it. It's like people who buy matchsticks and make matchstick cathedrals, and they spend 10 years of their life building it. They didn't want the cathedral or whatever it is they've made. They just wanted to be doing that process. So
I don't know what I'd do with my free time if I didn't knit. Like my house would be cleaner, but
well, we were saying about people who sit there for 8 hours a day. Like I could sit there for 8 hours a day and knit, but my problem is that I will sit there and I will think about knitting for 4 hours. Do you know what I mean? I will be thinking, not in a bad way or a good way, just, right, I want to knit that. Or in a minute, I'll pick up the rouge again and finish that sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but then I've got and it literally is thinking about it rather than just sitting down and just doing it. And that is obviously a difference in people's mindsets that's hard to get over. Because you are not like that, are you?
I mean, I'll be thinking about another project while I'm knitting one. I don't need to be stopping, but I am a very good multitasker. So yeah.
The only time I've ever multitasked like that was when I was a smoker, and I'd be smoking a cigarette thinking, oh, I'd just fancy a cigarette and I'll light another one in a second, not realizing I already had one in my hand. That's the only time I've ever done multitasking.
My previous job was as a 911 dispatcher. And you have to multitask. You're talking on the radio, you are typing away, you're listening to a caller in your ear, you're relaying that information, like you're doing 10 things at once. And so truly, once I became very good at that and like trained at that, I can't do one thing at a time, which is really almost annoying. I just can't do it.
Oh, I wish I could. I find it's tricky to do one thing. Not even 2 things at a time, just one thing.
Well, I have worked with several men who do that job, but I'll say it's much more common to have a woman that can multitask than a man.
Well, what men say, you know what's coming now, don't you? Let's have a battle of the sexes. No, what men would say is, oh, well, we do one thing well rather than 7 things badly.
Sure you do. You keep telling yourself that.
Yeah, pat ourselves on the head for that one good thing that we've done. Yeah, so Shauna's talking herself into more and more jobs to do for the podcast, have you noticed?
Real good at it.
So have you had any other knitting this week?
Yeah, I worked on my jaunty, which in the commotion of this morning, I failed to bring in here. Maybe I might be able to show you a picture. Let's see. It won't be the most current one because it's been a little bit since I've taken a photo, but I have put some work on it. I am actually thinking I might be able to get it finished in the month of March.
Oh, it's looking really good now.
Yep.
When it first went through that really dark section, I was like, ooh, not sure I like this. Especially when there was that real stark contrast with that next light color.
Yeah.
But now I like it now. I can see that it's gonna. I think the whole thing is gonna look really good.
Well, just like trusting the process of a pattern, I had to trust the process of the yarn, which I'm still trusting because I've just opened day 30. Today I need to open day 31, and there's a total of 40 days. And so far so good.
Yeah, Travel Lori, she loves it. Yeah.
Thank you, Lori. Lori and I are both opening the minis together.
Right. Okay.
We talk about what we think of the day's color and how, where we are in our project. She's actually knitting a Stephen West pattern, Chevron Shenanigans, I think it's called.
Oh, right. Yeah. I think I've seen that one. Yes, I have seen that one. Cool. I bet that looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm
so
almost like, if I could redo it, I might do that one, but no.
Yeah, I think where it's interesting, the jaunty is because obviously when you start it, you're knitting shorter rows, so you have a much bigger section of that yarn, don't you? Whereas now you're getting thinner stripes, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I imagine if it was all thin stripes or all chunky bits, it would probably have felt like it all worked until. Well, it does work now, I think, but at the beginning, I remember thinking, I don't know.
Yeah. Which he didn't tell me that. Thanks a lot, Neil.
No, I think I did. When
it's all wrapped around your neck, it will look different.
Yeah, when you're hanging because you've spent all that money on it.
Neil never said, "Stop, Shauna, stop." He's like, go ahead, just do whatever.
No, anyone who knows Shauna knows that when she starts a project, that's it. That train's not stopping.
That's not necessarily true because I started those minis in my Cozy Memories blanket, and I actually had to rip the knitting out.
Yeah, I'll take that back. Yes,
because I realized that was not a good thing.
You did, yeah, and that didn't look right, did it? I remember you showed me that didn't look good at all. Well, I've had time for a intermission knit, which I've been loving, absolutely loving this. So this is a bit of a cheat because have we announced what we're going to be knitting?
Well, we have in the Telegram group, which is another plug for join the Telegram group because you get all the current news right away.
All the gossip. Yeah. So we're going to be doing now inverted commas. We're going to be doing a mystery knit along, but it isn't. This one isn't because it's an interim thing to be doing until the next mystery knit along comes along.
Yeah. So just something to keep us busy.
So what we're going to be doing though is it's another Stephen West. So it's definitely we should change this channel to the Stephen West with
Stephen
the
West,
occasional
all the
Jeanette.
West knit all the time.
Yeah, we're going to be doing his Penguono. Now, part of the reason, well, it's not the reason, but part of the reason was because when I saw Stephen West, when at his talk, he got this big guy who was in the audience to try on the Penguono. And up until that point, I'd always thought, it's a bit weird, that Penguono. You know what I mean? But seeing it on someone, especially because he was big, I suddenly thought, that looks brilliant. That really looks good. So I thought, I want to knit it. And so when I mentioned it in the group, a few other people suddenly said, well, I want to knit it. And then it turns out I'd forgotten, you've shown, but you've already knitted quite a bit of the Penguono.
Yeah.
But you just never got around to finishing it. So
there's mine so far.
Oh, yeah,
mine is started out at least for my husband. I don't know if it's going to stay for my husband. I don't know. It just looks small, but I'm knitting I think the same size Neil said he would be making, or maybe one size smaller. So I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. Well, I don't think my husband will wear it anyway, but
it's an interesting pattern, isn't it? Because it's the same number of stitches no matter what size you're working on. So you're knitting the same amount of stitches. It just depends on the thickness of the yarn, really, and your needles. But what most people do, if you're a smaller person, I would say go for the massive size and, really go for that experience. But if you're a bigger person like me, I would say go for a smaller size that is going to fit you, properly fit you, because that's when it's going to look good on you. I think if you're big and you go for the huge size of this, I think it really is going to make you look like a sack of potatoes. Well, it would make me look like a sack of potatoes.
Well, that's literally just like if you follow, and I'm forgetting the technical name, you will know it, but the knitting guidelines, the
grading. If
you follow that, their suggestions or guidelines, it will have more ease for a smaller person and less ease for a bigger person, which you will find people who don't understand that critiquing those patterns and saying, well, they have a 60-inch bust, but the pattern only goes up to a 65 and it's supposed to have 10 inches of positive ease. Like, no, that's actually correct, because you don't want 10 inches of positive ease at a 60-inch bust.
Yeah. What you need, so for a bigger person, is, you get to a point where you know what size you like. The size that's comfortable and looks good, because you've got to feel comfortable with it as well. And then you kind of realize, so with like the Jeanette Rouge, I'm a tight knitter, so even though I went for the biggest size, it probably, when it's measured out, isn't going to be the biggest size. I suspect it's a size smaller, maybe even the one before that, because of how tight I knit. But I know, having worn that now, I know that fits perfectly. But anyway, going back to the Penguono, so we are going to be doing a Penguono knit along, and we're going to break it down as if it is a mystery knit along. So we're going to say, right, this week we're going to knit the back. Next week we're going to knit this, and so on. But we're not, it isn't a rule. You know, if you join us and start knitting it and you want to knit the whole thing in 1 week, do it. You know, don't be limited by how we're going to be sort of doing our bit. I mean, Shauna will finish hers in a week. We all know Shauna.
In a perfect world, I'd love to do two, the green one and another one, but I'm not going to commit to that because Neil already knows this, but I have another project that I am dying to cast on. And
it's a nice project. I want to knit this project as well. It is the one with that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I'm kind of cheated. So because I've mentioned this before, but my oldest friend's daughter is having a baby. So I thought I'll make Penguino, the baby version. So this is what I knitted.
That is so cute.
And so I've got the welts done, and I've got the start of the sides done. And this is just Karen. So Karen Cakes and Karen Simply Soft for the welts.
That looks great.
And I really enjoyed knitting it. Really did enjoy knitting it. And I think it was because it was so different from everything I've been working on recently. And this, I think I spent 2 evenings on this. It was very, very quick.
Well, he's so good at giving you just enough of a pattern, stitch, design, whatever, that by the time you're sick of that, you're ready to do something else. He is switching it up. So
yeah, because those welts, that was my limit for enjoying them. So on the full size one, I know by the time I've done one side, I probably won't want to do the other side, but I'll just have to, suck it up, as he would say, and do it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing this now. So I want to get this Clue 3 done, which I'm hoping I'll get that done tonight, because I'm on.
I think it's going to be a really small clue. I saw somebody, one of the test knitters, I can't remember which one, actually had how many grams they used for Clue 3, which we didn't say this, but you're only using your main color. None of the other colors are coming in Clue 3, which is crazy. But they only used 32 grams. And so this is a fast one. I thought Clue 2 was pretty fast, but this is even faster.
Well, I think I forgot. You've done so many, but I think I have to remind myself next time I do a Stephen West that first clue is always the toughest. It might not be the longest.
I remember one of them, and I don't remember which shawl, but it was such a small clue too that like everyone finished the first day, and he actually came out with what did he call it? A bonus clue. So it was still part of Clue 1, but he released it in 2 parts. So yeah, everyone was like just thrown off, but I don't think he's done that since.
Right. But I think Clue 4, I just think
it's going to be a doozy.
Huge. Yeah. I bet it's not hard, but I think it's just going to be a lot of knitting.
Yeah.
A lot of knitting, because we've still got, I'll still have at least 100 grams of my main color to get through. Although he is very, he does overestimate how much yarn you need generally, doesn't he? So we probably won't need a full.
Which is why I always make mine bigger, because I want to use up my yarn. I like to use up my yarn.
But I can't imagine what it's going to be. I'm hoping it's brioche, so everyone else will be screaming now. No, but I don't think it's going to be brioche. I just can't.
But here's the thing: if it is brioche, he always has another alternative. So don't fear if it is brioche; you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Lori says that the Penguino is the ranunculus of the Stephen West world, and I agree with that 100%.
Has anybody in the chat knitted it yet? Has anybody finished it? Because I had Oh, forgive me. I know you're actually watching now. Was it Kat? No, I can't remember who it was. Sorry. If it was Kat, sorry. And if it wasn't Kat, I'm sorry. Somebody mentioned that they wanted to knit it, but they said, is this the same one? And it was a picture of the lady wearing it. But the thing about the penguono is you can wear it two ways. You can wear it upside down. And so when it's worn upside down, it looks quite different, you know, because the welts appear kind of on the front here, don't they, going across your shoulder? Whereas I don't know whether... So that's the way I would wear it, you know, but obviously so the welts are going down the back, but you can wear it this way. And then what happens is, if I turn it around, those welts kind of then fall forward on the shoulder.
Yeah.
So they kind of appear that way. I don't know if that's showing very well. Whether I would wear it that way, I'm not sure, but it is nice.
I think you should at least, when you make yours your size, you should at least pose for a photo. Yeah, so you can see the difference.
Yeah, because what I've noticed is I think the neckline, when it's worn the usual way, is normal, typical, whatever the phrase is. When you wear it the other way around, I think that neckline that then becomes your waist kind of curves down.
It does, yeah.
Which I think looks a bit odd, but some people would like that. You know,
it might be a little bit more of a feminine feature than a masculine feature.
Yeah,
to wear it the other way, but I still think it's cool that you can wear it either way.
But overall, I would say it's quite a masculine design. You know, there's something about it that reminds me of. Actually, he's not particularly masculine, but do you remember what was that jumpsuit that Michael Jackson used to wear that was red? It was leather, but on the back it had like piping down the back, and that's what it reminds me of. So I do wonder whether that was his inspiration for it.
Was that from Thriller? I think that's from Thriller.
That era, yeah, because I think he wore a lot of those then, didn't he?
Jan Liz Knit is asking if they can work on a whip. Yes, there are absolutely no rules. Even I didn't even realize that Neil had said we were going to do this like mystery chunks. Like, I'm just going to knit it. I'm going to knit on my green one that I have started, even though part of me is just dying to cast on a multicolor one. But
yeah, I just make up rules as I go along. Yeah, they're not rules. It's just for people who have enjoyed those sort of chunks. Do you know what I mean? And to keep up with people, because I think because we've got a gap now, haven't we? Until is it July, August, before our next mystery?
June or July for the sock. I can't remember exactly when.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of months, and I just think it's a good time to do something like this. So people, you know, nobody feel obliged to take part. You know, if only 4 of us are doing it, it's still going to be, you know, we're still going to show it and do it. But it's a nice little project, and hopefully by breaking it down, it'll give people the freedom to knit other stuff as well. Because that's the thing I've struggled with this Clue 1. You know, there was no way I was able to knit anything. Oh, and I've done a little bit more on my sleeve on the Rouge, and I was saying to Annie,
you didn't post a photo.
No, but the reason I didn't is because you know when you stop looking at something and then you imagine you've done more than you have. I don't know if anyone else does this. It's like, oh yeah, I've only got to do the cuff, and it's like then you get it out, and it's like, no, I've got to do the whole sleeve still. I'd only got to about halfway through that very first bit of colour work, the very first bit. And I was saying to Annie on Saturday, oh, I'm up to, you know, the elbow. I've only got that bit to do. And no. So I've done I've done that full bit of colour work, and I've done the next bit of the bricks, I think it is. So I think I've got 2 more colour work sections to do, obviously with the bits in between and the cuff. So it's not a huge amount. So this coming week, once I get this done, I want to get the Rouge finished, and I want to get as far through the Penguini, the baby one, as I can.
I have something to say. When you and Annie are talking in your video for the Stephen West thing, Annie was asking about where I had said before when we were doing Rouge that I had heard that the sleeves take about 1/3 of your yarn. Then I had completely forgotten about that, and I never did the calculations, but I did make a comment on that video because I went back and did take a look. So for mine, the sleeves took 23% of the total yarn. So I would say if you just make sure you have 1/3, then you're going to be fine. And of course, that's with color work and texture, and it could be a little bit different, but I did think that was interesting.
So really, it's a it's a quarter pushing it though, isn't it? You know, if you were living life on the edge. That's interesting. Yeah, that makes it less daunting to think it's a quarter rather than a third.
Yeah, it just makes me wonder. I mean, obviously different constructions will be different. Like if you have a drop sleeve, your sleeves will take less than that. So I wouldn't have called this a drop sleeve. So I'm a little bit wondering why it took less, because I don't have short arms, but I guess whatever. I don't know.
Annie said here, you said it'd be fun, Neil. Yeah, because when I was knitting clue 1, still finishing it, and I was still reeling from clue 1 when I was knitting clue 2 of the shawl. I was been like dreaming of going back to knitting the ruju, you know, because I kind of knew where it was going. I know the pattern now, you know, not by heart, obviously, but I knew I could just get back into it and do it. I did enjoy that section that I did, but then I'm remembering it's on, you know, I've got it on the 9-inch circulars and it's tricky. And so I'm not going to enjoy it like I thought I was going to enjoy it. But it's not that I don't enjoy it. You know what I mean? It's knitting.
Well, here's your reminder, because you said that you were going to need them. Jeanette is doing her fashion show April 19th. April 19th. Get that into your head. Finish that sweater.
Oh, what date are we on now? So it's a month. Is it a month or 4 weeks?
A little less than a month.
So I'm going to have to get it blocked and get the buttons sewn on.
Yeah.
That's all I've got to do. I've just got to weave in the ends. I think as long as I get the ones showing weaved in, the ones that are hidden, I could get away with that, couldn't I? Although I may as well get it done. There's no point just doing a few. Got to get it blocked, which is going to be tricky because I'm going to have to take it elsewhere. Because if I try and block anything here, the cats are just, you know, they use it to sit on and, you know, because they just, oh, something new, you know. So I've either got to block it in my car or... Actually, it might work well in the car because it's turned. The weather's turned it's quite warm today, so it might be okay. Excuse me. Either that, or I'll have to take it to my mum.
Yeah, you just wouldn't want to leave it out there too long because the sun can bleach some of your colors. It'll wash them out.
Shit. Yeah, it can. Yeah.
What
it's
about your
probably
mom's
best not in the
place?
car. Yeah, I think that's that. No, she doesn't have. That's the only place. The only thing is, my mum lives in a bungalow, so it's a lot smaller. So it's literally going to have to be on the floor, you know, on the mats, and she'll have to walk around it. But she will. She'll, you know, because she won't mind. I've got to get that done, which I can't wait to do. But I am not going to get it anywhere out of it until the winter because it's too warm.
That's okay. Now. It'll be ready for next year.
Oh, but I'll tell you what I really regret. I regret not wearing my Mystery Musical shawl.
Yeah.
On Saturday. Because I know I sent him photos after because I was trying to show him photos while I was there. But you know, when I was under the pressure of finding the photos, knowing people were queuing. And I was, you know, and again, like I said, I get overwhelmed and I just see all these photos and I can't focus on any of them. So I couldn't find it. So I can't find it. So I sent it to him after. And whether he's seen them, I don't know. Well, his team sent it to his team. Because I think he would have liked mine because of all that neon yellow that was in it. I've left that on the screen. I'm going to take that off. Yeah, so sorry, me this week.
Well, we are just over an hour. Do we have anything else that we want to say?
So next week we're going to have a more of a look at Clue 3. We'll probably have another. Well, we'll definitely be able to show you some of Clue 4.
Yeah,
because we'll both have finished Clue 3 by the time the next clue's out, so we'll have made a start on that probably.
Isn't it crazy? Like we're about to get the last clue next week, whereas like the Ruju just felt like it. I mean, it did take almost twice as long. It just felt like it was such a long period of time, and this just feels like it has flown by. Well,
really, you know, it was double the amount of time for the Ruju, really. I mean, it was 7 weeks as opposed to 4 weeks. It's not double, really, is it? But I haven't worked it out, but I am intrigued to know how many stitches we've knitted so far. But nobody's done it for this one, have they? Because don't they usually do a spreadsheet?
The first clue was roughly 23,000. The second clue, what did I say? Like 8,000? Sounds right. So that would have been 31,000.
So I think it's going to be about 35,000.
I have no idea how many Clue 3 is.
Yeah, it's not going to be as many because there's going to be some. You don't. Well, I was thinking, when are the decreases coming? Because you do quite a lot before those decreases, and then all of a sudden they come in, and it's like, right, okay. Because there's quite. Do we want to talk about this?
Save it for next time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you what I was going to say next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've got nothing else to say unless you have.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and for our mystery knit along. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, leave those down in the comment section if you're not here on the live. And thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.